That's one of the things that attracted me to Deadlocke and Venomous, is that it really is about evil and about what evil really is and what it's really not. Dark Horse asked me if I wanted to do it. I read the screenplay and I said, yes.
Deadlocke is about a young boy in New York City named Locke Vanetti who has bottled up his anger. When he gets angry, it's not simply an emotion that floods through him, it's as though his entire world changes and he becomes the embodiment of this anger, the vessel of this anger.
I've actually done like a lot of adaptations of stuff. I've adapted some of Robert E. Howard's comics. He's the creator of Conan. But that's a really creative process too, figuring out how to take something from a screenplay and make it work as a comic book and make it something that the person who wrote the original story would be proud of. The script felt really honest to me, and I felt like I really knew Locke, the character, where there was a lot of me in him. I think in high school people sort of form cliques of friends, about 4 or 5 people. I had a really, really hard time finding a clique of people that I felt comfortable with, which is why I completely understand Locke's character. Locke is somebody, and he feels like maybe he's finally kind of found a place that he belongs. And what a wonderful feeling that is. Doing Deadlocke was just great because I think when you're adapting something like Deadlocke, you want to try to capture the original author's intent. So it's very creative, but at the same time, you want to be as faithful as possible to the original. And I think that's when adaptations are really successful, is when they're faithful to the original and they don't try to go off and do their own thing. It's so much easier adapting something. It's just infinitely easier. It takes about 1/100th of the time. Because you know, Chris did all the hard work already, had basically created the characters, created the world, created everything. I kind of tried to describe Deadlocke and the Deadlocke pages as being drawn in a kind of a different style, like being done more in a sort of a comic book kind of a style. Because when you go into the world of Deadlocke, you go into the world of Locke's fantasy, and there's a great tension in Deadlocke between fantasy and reality. The duality between Locke and Deadlocke is really important because everybody has a shadow, and Deadlocke is Locke's way, I think, of dealing with his shadow in a sort of unconscious way. And the shadow's not necessarily bad, it's just everything about yourself that you kind of can't accept. Deadlocke is really about a character kind of coming to terms with their own darkness and their own shadow. It's about, I think, someone discovering that there is evil out there. Rex Mundi is definitely about that also. When Rex Mundi first came out, people didn't really know what to make of it. They said, what is this? It's a murder mystery about Jesus? So no one wanted to touch it. And then a few years later, the Da Vinci Code came out, and it was a real vindication for me because I knew it was a good story idea. Johnny Depp's production company optioned it. I believe in universal truths. I mean, I became a member of the Baha'i faith in college, so that was really important for me. And basically, in the Baha'i faith, you believe that all the major world religions are true. So I think Deadlocke really captures that. You know, being into heavy metal doesn't make you a bad or evil person. I think real evil is something a little bit harder to pin down. Evil people don't usually think of themselves as being evil, or sometimes they just don't have any kind of morality at all. They're just completely amoral. And that's the character of Casey to me. And I've known people like Casey. I think everybody does. I mean, it's really terrifying, people who are like that. They're predatory, and they're scary. There's a love triangle amongst the characters in Rex Mundi, and then there's sort of a love triangle in Deadlocke as well. People are complicated like that. It's not always just a physical thing. It's not just about sex. It's about competing for someone's attention, for someone's affection. And I think Deadlocke is really perceptive in that way. Yeah, I'm working on a novel now. Yeah, it's sort of into the wilderness again. I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but that's clearly never stopped me before, so here we go.